this week. We're going to go right ahead and jump into questions. So Tom, why don't you get us started?
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, hey Jordyn. Maybe what's the state of the team right now coming off last week's meet and what you're expecting on Friday?
Yeah. There's kind of two parts. I would say the state of the team. First part is like we had on the first three events, so many amazing highlights and broke a vault team score record, which is awesome. A lot of confidence is continuing to build on all of the events, but especially those three after this past meet. And then the other part, obviously, we were not pleased with how we finished the meet by any means. The team was frustrated, and we got right back in the gym, figured out where the root of that was coming from, why we finished not well on beam, and are attacking that problem just as we always do. So I'm feeling really positive about where we're at as a team going into this weekend. We've got these three regular season competitions left before SEC championships, and just three really great opportunities for our team to keep pushing team scores, gaining confidence, developing those scores that are going to help our NQS at the end of the day. Hopefully after this weekend, being able to drop, the 195 score that we're still counting in our NQS, which will help us tremendously. So state of the team is, we're right where we need to be as far as motivation, confidence building, and attacking this week of practice. And I feel like that's going to serve us, and they're going to be ready to go on Friday night. Okay.
And you mentioned getting to the root of the issue on beam. Well, can you really do that? And also, is beam the most mentally challenging of the events?
I mean, I would say if I had to choose one, it is one of the more mentally challenging ones. It's also hard to end on beam in a way competition. That's no excuse. We should be able to do it just because, at any postseason meet, we could end on beam. We could start on beam. It doesn't matter. We need to be able to do the job. And that was part of the conversation with the team. There was some negative feelings about the equipment and just, I think, some past stuff where, a couple of years past, this program has not historically done well finishing on beam at Kentucky. And I think they kind of let that negativity affect their mindset. So we got it out, we talked about it, and I feel really confident that negativity is gone. It's away, it's out and addressed, and they are learning the fact that it does not matter what the equipment feels like. It doesn't matter where we are, what the lights are, shouldn't matter. The job is the same, the gymnastics is the same. And as a gymnastics program, we need to be able to handle any situation that's thrown at us. That's what great teams do. And so they're fired up about that. They know that mental toughness is something that we need to address this week, and they are doing that.
Okay, thanks. I might circle back.
All right. Who else has coach questions? You can just jump right in.
Yeah, I have a couple for Jordyn. Hey, Jordyn. One of them is, you just talked about it, that amazing vault performance. Can you talk about that group as a whole and what was working for them that day? And then kind of talk about Leah Smith as well, because she's been getting all sorts of love all over social media for her performance as well.
Yeah, I think what we saw at the meet, the vault performance was a product of the work they're doing in the gym during the week. And in years past, it's been difficult to get really good training in on vault for a number of reasons. And one of the reasons is because it's really hard to simulate the adrenaline that you have during a meet and focus on sticking. I mean, even if you stick in practice, you're always gonna have more adrenaline and more power in the meet. So it doesn't necessarily feel exactly the same. And so this past week, I said, we're not just gonna work on vaults. We're not just gonna do them and check those boxes, but we're going to work on sticking in practice and get more good numbers in that way. Obviously they always intend to do that, but I really challenged them to say, you know what, we got to get this done during the week. And we had a really short week of practice last week. We had 2 workouts from Metroplex until Kentucky. So they had 2 days to get better and to work on things. So I think that's what we saw as far as the landings. We can still clean up. We can still, I mean, even Frankie has a stick in her somewhere, and Nora still took a big hop. And, there's another 9-9 that we can squeeze out of that lineup, which is great. And even Lauren, she took a pretty big hop out of her landing too. So it's just really exciting to think about what's possible. It's just a matter of them having the confidence of, hey, we can do that every weekend. And yes, we beat a program record, but it wasn't even 100% of what we're capable of. So that's the mindset that they're in, which is exciting. We're just going to keep going and try to produce those 49.5 vault scores every weekend if we can.
And can you talk a little bit about Leah Smith as well, and just that performance too? I mean, it's been gaining so much traction on social media. I mean, that's got to be great for the program itself, just to have, a performance like that, and it to, gain so much social media interaction.
Yeah. I didn't know it was getting all that attention on social media because I'm not really on social media these days, but that, just really proud of Leah. Although it's not that coveted 10 because her start value is a 995, that's the first ever perfect score for any Arkansas gymnast, to have 0 deductions. So that's really amazing. We highlighted that, and Leah deserves, all the positive, props and things like that. She's one of those athletes I just talked about who worked on sticking during the week, and then she went in her touch warm-ups right before. She stuck one in her touch, and then she stuck one again in the meet. And so that's what we want to see from the athletes, that repetition, that ability to do it at any point in time and not just get lucky and stick. So really proud of Leah. She's worked so hard, and I think she's just going to keep going in that direction.
And what do you want to see from the team against Missouri this week? I know you just said it, you only have 3 more meets left, and then you're into postseason competition. So what do you want to see from this team coming up this week, and then kind of just to round out the regular season?
Yeah, I think the obvious thing that people probably anticipate I'm going to say is a better beam performance. And I think that's obvious, but that's what I really want to see is them continue to detail all their routines, and especially on an event like bars. Like, we had a great bar performance, but in order for us to bridge that gap between the 49.3 range to 49.5, like, we've got to hit every handstand. We've got to stick more dismounts, and they're so bought into figuring that out in practice. So I want to see that translate in the meet. I want to see more details. Obviously, I want to see a really solid beam lineup performance. And, part of it is we're still tweaking that lineup and figuring out what is the order and who are those core 6. So I just want to see consistency on that event. And really, I want to see them translate from practice to competition, because we've thrown a lot of challenges at them this week to increase that mental toughness. And I want to see that translate. And then, really just putting that another full meet together and pushing that 197.5. I mean, it's in us. We're capable of it. It's just, we got to put it out there at one time.
That's all for me. Thank you, Jordyn.
Thank you.
More questions for Coach?
Yeah. Hey, Jordyn, any other lineup things that you're thinking of this week, and might you have any all-arounders?
Nora is ready to go on floor. She's I won't get into too many details, but since the season started, she's had some sick illness issues. And so she's been doing 3 events, but floor is that one that is hard to do if you're not fully 100% feeling awesome. But she had a great week of practice on floor and is feeling much better. So we might see her back on floor this week. And if not this week, for sure, the last 2 meets of the regular season, because the goal always for Nora has been be ready to be strong in the all around for the postseason, and not do too much too soon. So we might see some floor lineup changes with her potentially going in. Obviously, we're going to tweak beam a little bit. We're still kind of figuring out what exactly that looks like. That will depend on how practice goes tomorrow morning, which is our last workout before the meet. And then, bars, we're in a really good groove, a really good rhythm. Same thing with vault. Kennedy has been training vault. We might see her back in. We're still making that decision based on how she warms up. So, small tweaks potentially here and there, no major changes. And we're just looking forward to having a great, really solid performance on Friday night.
Thanks. Best of luck Friday.
Thank you.
Any more from anyone in this group? Otherwise, I have a couple that have been sent for Coach. All right. So Jordyn, you talked about the NQS a little bit earlier, but knowing that there's 3 meets left and you have the opportunity to drop your high and your low to get to that NQS, what's the best method and the best kind of equation for keeping these next 3 meets consistent and getting to where you want in that NQS?
Yeah. Well, obviously, as coaches, we're focusing on that. We're focusing on those scores and figuring out how do we put ourselves in the best position with our NQS to be seated well in the postseason. But as far as the team goes, we don't tell them to focus on the scores. We say, just do your job, do your routines. The scores come when you do that. So trying to keep them there, not over focusing on the result or the scores, but just going out, doing what they do in training, being confident. And that's really what's going to prepare us the best for postseason.
And the other one I got is that we're seeing so much parity in the SEC right now, and it's such a deep conference already. But just some of the wins we've seen, Mizzou's just coming off a win against Auburn. Seems like it's anyone's night in the SEC right now. So how do you approach that, especially being back home and gearing up for an opponent like Missouri?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Missouri is a fantastic team. They, having made nationals last year, they've got some great talent, and I know it's going to be a great competition. I'm excited for our fans to be able to see that. But historically, we've always kind of been neck and neck with Missouri, and this has always been a great dual meet for us. So I'm hoping our team can go in feeling feisty and competitive, and having that kind of under the surface, but on the surface, really just focusing on doing what we know how to do and being confident and hitting their routines and their normal. So, we always tell the team, doesn't matter who you're competing against, the job is the same. That's how I want our team to think. But as far as us coaches, we know that this is going to be a great competition and another opportunity for us to get a good SEC win under our belts.
Thank you. Any more questions for Coach? All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. And if you plan to come out to Barnhill, we will see you then. Otherwise, we will connect later. Thank you.
Thank you.